all my plant fam. If you're new here, my name is Lauren, and in today's video, we are going to go over my ultimate plant wish list. And guys, I'm talking about uncommon, extremely rare plants everywhere in the spectrum. And in finding out more about my plant style, I've learned to absolutely adore tropical aeroids. I'm gotten really addicted to it, and that is due to my absolute favorite YouTuber, Kaylee Ellen. She specializes in tropical aeroids, and after binge watching a ton of her videos, I've come to fall in love with them. So most of these are tropical aeroids. I'm really excited to share with you guys all my plants in my wish list. So if you guys are ready and excited, stay tuned, like and subscribe, and let's get going to this video. Now for this plant wish list, it's roughly 16 plants, give or take. You'll see why in a minute that the number is kind of up in the air, but I feel like the easiest way to go about this is going through each genus of plant. Now to help me with this, I do have my trusty iPad here. I have all the plants with my notes and pictures, so if you see this iPad pop in and out, or if I'm looking down, that is what I am referring to. So without further ado, I am going to start off with the first genus of plant, which is Alocasias. I have to say, guys, Alocasias are quickly becoming one of my favorite genuses of plant. Philodendrons are still at the top, and I think I would have to put it second, followed by Calatheas. So we are starting off with one of my favorite genuses of plants, and kicking it off is the Alocasia pink dragon. Now, first of all, when we're talking about the leaves and the foliage of this plant, I think it's just really stunning. It's more of a muted design, not very intricate, still very beautiful, but the star of the show, of course, is the pink stems. Hence, of course, why it's called a pink dragon. You guys know I love vibrancy and colors in my plants. I do like the color pink, so this is absolutely a perfect fit of a plant that I would love in my collection. I have searched around a little bit online to see if this plant is available, and I have seen a few retailers on Etsy selling this plant, so it's not too hard at all to get a hold of an Alocasia pink dragon, and I foresee myself having this pretty soon in my collection. The next Alocasia in this plant wish list is a plant that, guys, if I had to narrow down this long wish list to my top 3 or 5 plants, this plant would be in it. That's how much I like it. With this said, this plant also comes in a variegated version and kind of has like a sibling plant, if you would call it, and all 3 of these plants I have to have, and I probably will, and that is an Alocasia Zebrina. Now, in looking at the photo that I'm showing you guys here on the screen, I think the leaf shape is so cool and different from the other Alocasias that I have. It's extremely angular and pointy and looks very much like an arrow. So I do have an Alocasia to show you guys, and this is my Alocasia Friedeck. And if you're looking as a comparison from the picture right here and my Friedeck, you can see that the Zebrina has a way different shape. It's still similar, but the Friedeck has more of a curved shape, and its lobes are not as pointed. So I first really enjoy the leaf shape of this plant. Now, talking about what makes this plant super special is the zebra patterns on the stem. It is unreal and out of this world. I have seen this on Etsy. A few vendors are selling it, and it ranges from $60 to like $120, which isn't too bad. Now, taking it a step further is a variegated Alocasia Zebrina. And guys, it just keeps getting better and better, let me tell you. I have not found a variegated Zebrina online yet. I hope it pops up because I really want this plant, but this is like meat in a plant, I feel like, because I love variegation, I love patterns, I love aroids, and this is amazing. Now, I did mention a sibling plant, and that is the Alocasia Zebrina Reticulata. I am showing you a picture of this plant as well on the screen, and I think the foliage is so intricate and so unique. It's unlike any other foliage of a plant I've ever seen before, to be honest. In some pictures, there are like these swirls in its foliage that look absolutely ornate. In some of them, it has these cool strikes and strokes in the foliage as well. Every foliage, yes, is unique, but I think the design and intricacy of the foliage is beautiful. So technically that was 3 plants all in one, but Alocasia Zebrina is the creme de la creme, one of my favorite plants. Last up for my alocasias in my rare plant wish list is an Alocasia dragon scale. Now, I don't know if there's any Game of Thrones lovers out there, but I feel like if Daenerys Targaryen loved plants, she would definitely have a dragon scale. So what I really love about this plant, first of all, is the texture and the design of it. It looks like the veins have really deep ridges where it makes it look really 3D and makes the foliage pop out even more. In the photo you're looking at here, the veins look super dark in comparison to the brighter green color of its leaves. So it's such a striking and beautiful contrast. I feel like even though this is a rare alocasia, I have seen it available on multiple different retailers online, all varying in price, but I think that this plant, again, is really cool. I would love to have it, and that rounds up all the alocasias in my wish list. All right, guys, we are moving on to the next genius of plant in this video, and that is none other than anthuriums. And I do have a couple of anthuriums in this wish list, and to start off, it is an Anthurium Crystallinum. When I first learned about this plant, to be honest, it took me a little bit to jump on the bandwagon. And I really think it's because it's hard to see the crystal silver sparkles in its veins. So even though I knew that it's supposed to have it, it wasn't until I saw YouTube videos up close of this plant, and once I saw the silver sparkles in its veins, the crystal sheen and everything, I was sold. And now I know the reason why this plant, although it is rare, it's also very high in demand. Next up is a plant that I was debating on putting in there because, like many of you will know, it's very similar to a crystallinum, and that is an Anthurium Clarinervium. But, you know, looking closely at this photo and in so many other photos, you really can't go wrong with how beautiful of a shape it is. You know, in comparison to the crystallinum, the shape of a clarinervium has more of a rounder heart. I think the shape of it is just beautiful. The leaves look massive when it grows out. And I think the lobes or the ears of this plant, the way they kind of touch together, is super unique. I also think that the vein design in this plant in particular is really intricate and beautiful as well. Like the crystallinum, this plant is also in high demand and available in so many different online retailers. So if you are interested in either of these plants, then it should not be a problem to get a hold of. The next Anthurium is none other than the queen herself. Bow down to the Anthurium Warocquenum. I hope I'm saying that right, but it is called the Queen Anthurium, and I specifically want the dark form. And shout out to Kaylee Ellen, because this is actually her photo. None of these photos are mine, by the way, but once I saw her photo pop up on Google search, again, she is my favorite YouTuber, so I had to put it in. This is actually a picture of a Warocquenum that she sells on her shop. Now, this plant is just beautiful for so many reasons. It is the dark form, so I love the dark green color of this plant. And I love the shape of this plant. It kind of reminds me, if you took the Clarinervium and just stretched it out, it would be the Queen Anthurium. And it also reminds me a lot of other belt-like Anthurium and philodendrons out there. This plant is pretty available, not as available in commercial availability against the crystallinum and the Clarinervium, but you can definitely get your hands on it. I have been keeping an eye on Etsy's auctions, and they are selling one right now, and I think the price right now is in its 200s or 300s, and that's not even the final price. So this definitely is an investment plant, but for the queen, you can't expect anything less. But that's it, guys. Those are the 3 Anthuriums in my wish list. Moving right along into this video, I have Monsteras next. And I just have 2 Monsteras to talk about. The first one, which I know everyone and their mama wants, but for good reasons, is the Monstera Thai Constellation. And I do rather prefer the Thai over the Albo. There's nothing wrong with an Albo. I would still kill to have an Albo Borgesiana in my collection, but I just prefer the Thai, you know, for 2 reasons. First, when I saw the Thai Constellation, I loved the speckled print in its foliage. Of course, that's why it gets its name. It just looks very starry to me, and if you haven't seen my apartment bedroom tour, you know I love moons and everything like that, so the aesthetic and design of this plant just really fit in with me as a person. And more so than that, I love the Thai Constellation because the variegation is intrinsic in this plant. With an Albo, you do have to think about and deal with reverse variegation if it comes, because with an Albo, the variegation is a genetic mutation. That's not the case with a Thai Constellation. The variegation is inherent in the plant, so that just gives it a double bonus. The last and second Monstera that I have is a Monstera Peru. Now, this is a little bit different, I think, in my style versus all the other plants in my wish list, but I really think this plant is cool and kind of for the same reasons as the Alocasia dragon scale. The veins on this plant look very deep. It looks like it has deep ridges, like I mentioned before with the dragon scale, and you can see the contrast in the veins to the leaf color itself, which I think it's really cool. Now, there is a variegated version of this plant that I'm showing you right now. And I really can't decide, guys, between the regular and variegated form, which one I would prefer. You guys know that I love variegated plants. I think the variegated Monstera Peru is beautiful, but I don't know. I think I actually prefer the regular Monstera Peru better. But that really ends my Monstera portion of this video. All right, guys, we are down to our last genius of plant, and it is my favorite plant family, and that is none other than philodendrons. Now, out of my entire wish list, half of it is philodendrons. I think I have about, 8 philodendrons to talk about. So let's get going with the first plant, which is another super high in demand plant that everyone wants, and I don't care because I still want it, and that is a Philodendron Pink Princess. Guys, I have tried and lost twice in NSE auctions trying to get this plant. I'll take it as a sign that I'm not meant to have this plant. That's okay, but I'm trying, and I'm trying really hard. Again, it goes without saying, guys, I love pink. I have my Calathea ornata here that has its pink stripes in its leaves. I have a Peperomia guinea right here that has pink in its foliage. I mentioned the Alocasia dragon scale, and of course I have to have the Philodendron Pink Princess. It's a philodendron, my favorite genius of plant. It's pink and it's variegated. Come on, guys, this plant was made for me, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Next up for my philodendrons is a plant that I've mentioned before in my videos, and that is a variegated philodendron ring of fire. I know this plant may not be for everyone, but I just think this is a badass plant, to be honest. It kind of has like this sawtooth rippling of a leaf shape, which I think is awesome, but I've always thought this plant is super cool. I love philodendrons because the variety of leaf shapes is, so ginormous, and yeah, it kind of reminds me of a philodendron jungle boogie as well in its leaf shape, and I just really want it. It's super badass. All right, this next one is a classic, and I feel like if you love rare philodendrons, you have to have this in your collection, and that is a Philodendron Gloriosum. This is a beautiful plant. It's known for its gorgeous round heart shape with its velvety leaves, its dark green lush color, and its bright white veins. It's, just a beautiful, overall gorgeous plant. Next philodendron that I want to talk about is a Philodendron Plowmanii. Now, this is a great, break and contrast from a lot of the velvety philodendrons. I really love this plant because it has a shiny, glossier look to its leaf. Again, it still has the beautiful heart shape and beautiful big lobes on the top of the plant, and it has that striking contrast and deep ridges as well. What really sold me on this plant is actually the back. If you look at the back color of a Plowmanii, it has more of a neon lime green color. The veins are red, and the petioles. Can we talk about these petioles? I put a picture here, and it has like these ripples, which I think is so cool. So a Plowmanii is definitely on my wish list. This is a little harder to get a hold of. I've only seen 2 vendors really sell this plant that's available to me in the US, and it is a lofty price, so make sure to save up your money if you do want a Plowmanii. I am going to group these next 2 philodendrons together because while they are similar, they are still completely unique and beautiful for their own reasons. So first up is a Philodendron Mamei. Now this plant is characterized by its silver mottled patches. It also has the ruffled petioles as well. Now this philodendron kind of reminds me of a silver and pothos because it has those patches of silver, and like, what can you go wrong? Like, having this plant in your collection is just a statement piece. Yeah, I have nothing else to say about it. I really want this plant and I think it's beautiful. With that said, the next plant that does go along with this that is more rare and more expensive is a Philodendron Sodiroi. I hope I'm saying that right. And again, it is similar to the Mamei because it has the silver patches in its foliage, but in the picture, as you can see, that captures it very well, a Sodiroi is more known to have a beautiful kind of silver metallic sheen to its leaf that is just stunning and completely unique. I have seen this on NSC's website. It is available sometimes as part of their auctions. So if you're looking for a Sodiroi, definitely check out NSC Tropicals. We are almost near the end of this video. We have 2 more philodendrons left, and this next plant is for all my dark foliage lovers, and I am talking about a Philodendron Majesty. I just had to take a moment of silence because I just think this plant is super sexy. I feel like I don't even have to explain why I think sexy or why I love it. Just look at it, right? The finish I hear of this plant is matte. It's this matte, gorgeous black, and against that black is kind of this burgundy red pink stem, and overall I think it's just a unique, gorgeous plant. Guys, we are down to the final plant in this wish list, the final philodendron, and that is a Philodendron Florida Ghost. Now, you can already see by the photo, the leaf shape is so out of this world and so unique, but the real reason why I'm sold on this plant is all the colors you get as this plant matures. So when baby leaves pop out, it's this off-white, milky cream color, hence why it's called a Florida Ghost. Then as the plant matures in its growth cycle, it goes from white to getting speckles of green that becomes that mint color you hear a lot online. Then it goes from a lime / bright green, then finally a dark green color at its mature state. I think this is such a standout plant. This would definitely make it in my top 5 plants because in one plant you could have a beautiful array, a gradient of colors, and I think it's gorgeous. This plant is in high in demand, but also available in many online retailers. So if you're looking for this plant, be rest assured that you will find one. Well, that's it, guys. We are done. We are done with my rare plant wish list. Some of these, I honestly feel like I could get the majority of them in the next few months. Some are very expensive and an investment. But overall, I love all of these plants, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had so much fun just sitting here talking with you guys and talking about plants and what attracts me. If you have a similar plant style or you have something completely different, leave it in the comments down below. I love hearing you guys interact with me and what you look for and love in plants. Now, I have to say that this video is going to kick off a very exciting series in my channel. Let's see if you can guess it if it's not obvious. So if that isn't enough for you to stay, hopefully that secret will. But until my next video, guys, as always, I will see you then, and thank you for watching.